Terrific. Well, we're here to entertain you, but also to edify you. That means to educate you. And we're going to do a little of that right now, talking about what is a symphony orchestra. Well, there are four families, four components to a symphony orchestra. The string section, closest to you here on the stage, is kind of the difference between what is a concert band and a symphony orchestra. All of these instruments in the string family. I think I'll have them all stand and then I'll introduce each section. Doesn't take too much education to realize those are string instruments. We have in this section actually five sections. There are first violins over here, and the inside playing exactly the same kind of instrument, but a different musical part. Second violins, those are the smallest of the string instruments. And the violas over here actually are larger. And if you saw them next to each other, you'd say, oh, they are. But from a distance, they look kind of the same because they're held under the chin and they're played in much the same manner. Then, twice as low as the viola, potentially, is the cello, which obviously looks quite different, and is the instrument that didn't stand up for the national anthem, not because they're not patriotic, but it's just hard to play the cello standing up. And at the back, the double basses, string section. In the middle of the orchestra are what are called the woodwinds, sometimes a misnomer because it says wood winds. The highest pitch of the woodwind instruments has been made of metal for the last 120, 130 years. It's the flute. Let's have the woodwind stand up. The flute and the piccolo are the highest pitched of the woodwind instruments traditionally. Next to them, the oboes. Behind the flutes are the clarinets. And behind the oboes are the bassoons. And that goes from high to low. You can see as the instruments get larger, they potentially play lower, the woodwind family. And then there's the brasses, the brass family, the brass winds, as they're sometimes called. Again, four instruments. We might connect each of these families with a choir and say, here's the sopranos, here are the altos, here are the tenors, here are the basses in all these families. And there's the same thing in the brass band. Let's have the brass players stand. Oh, they're already standing up. The one you're probably most familiar with, probably hear a great deal in lots of different musical contexts, is the trumpets. Then the French horns, and the slide trombones, and finally the bass of the family, the tuba. The brass family. And last but not least, tiny stretch, the percussion family. Percussion means to beat or to strike something with a mallet or a stick, or sometimes even your hand. And they play a variety of a lot of different instruments. Percussion players need to be very versatile because they have to play 15, 20, 25 different instruments in the course of a season, if not a single night's concert. The percussion family. We're going to introduce them one at a time as we go, but I thought we'd start by just showing you where they are and you can kind of get your eyes focused and your attention riveted on a particular place that interests you. And when you go back to school today, or next year, or 5 years from now, you'll say, I've always wanted to play the clarinet, or the oboe, or the violin, or something. And this might be your start, the start of something big, as we would say. We're going to play something kind of fun. A lot of it is sort of cartoon-oriented. You know, a lot of cartoons, especially the Warner Brothers cartoons,